Hello everyone, today I'll be taking you on a tour of this 2021 Ford Bronco and show you why it's an awesome alternative to the Jeep Wrangler and why it's an excellent, capable, off-road worthy vehicle. Okay, so to start off with the tour, I want to start off with the infotainment system in the middle because this is where I typically start off. And what I want to show here is how this is an excellent responsive system. I love how responsive this is, first of all. For example, if I tap something, it just gets me straight there and it's super fast. It's really, really nice. If I go to settings there, boom, it's instant. It's super, super good. And if I zoom into the map, for example, it's very responsive. It's so intuitive. It's easy to use. I love it. In the past, Sync 3 hasn't been the best system, but nowadays I think it's one of the best. It's very responsive and it's very, very, very nice. It's really, really good. This infotainment system has a couple of features. So for example, we have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which is really nice. I like to see those here. And additionally, we also can just connect our phone normally. For example, we can just connect to a Bluetooth device. In the audio here, we also have our stereo FM radio, obviously. We also have our navigation map. So here's our navigation map, and let me just reset it. If I tap this, that'll give us all the things we need, like the show on map, the orientation, etc. And we also have a couple of other apps. Other than Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, we have some other mobile apps here, and we can download those when we connect a device. And then here are the settings. So here are our typical settings, for example, Wi-Fi connectivity. Valet mode is also available. So if I tap valet mode, for example, it'll enable a 4-digit PIN, and that PIN must be entered in by the owner of the car to unlock all the functions of the car, which is a really cool feature. I like that. And also here, there's the vehicle hotspot, and there's also just a bunch of other settings that you can modify. And there's also a couple of other external features here. So this is just like, oops, that's the time. Let's head over to features, and here you can see there's the owner's manual. A digital owner's manual is available right in the infotainment system, which is really nice. And there's also the driver assistance features here, like the lane keeping system, pre-collision assist system, and a bunch of other safety systems. You can access all those features here. And I love this system. It's very simple to use, very responsive, and it's just generally a very, very nice system. So another thing I like is that alongside the main system in the middle here, there's also a supplementary gauge cluster screen. And this gauge cluster screen is also quite helpful. So there's controls on the steering wheel here. You can see we have a few controls here. You can go back. You can also hit that to get all the different options. If I hit this button and we go to the gauge cluster here, you can see we have a bunch of different options here. We can go to our custom view. We can look at our navigation down here. We can look at our phone. We also have a bunch of other things. We can look at our audio settings, and you have a lot of different options. If I go to navigation, for example, let's head over there. I can see like where my home is. I can see my previous destinations, my favorite destinations, etc. That's a very nice feature. And also for phone, that'll obviously give my phone statistics. Obviously, I don't have a phone paired right now, but if I do, I'll get those statistics. Media, here's the audio settings. I can look at AM, FM, or Sirius XM radio, which is really cool. And up here, if I hit the menu button again, I can also just look at the fuel economy settings as well as the off-road settings. So you can look at the oil temperature, for example, the transmission temperature, the battery voltage, and also you can kind of see that gauge cluster colors changed, and that is a very nice touch. It shows that you're kind of in off-road mode at the moment. So I'm gonna switch over back. So right now I'm in off-road mode, and that's why it's white, as we can see, which is really cool. And overall, this gauge cluster screen is also quite helpful. It also provides me some statistics too. And it's a very nice supplement for the middle screen. It gives me the similar information right here, and that's pretty cool. Okay, so here's a fun one. Here we can see this says GOAT mode, and I like that naming. GOAT here isn't greatest of all time, obviously. Here it's actually goes on all terrain, and I like that. We can see here we can use this dial, and I like that when we change the dial, it'll actually give me some info on the gauge cluster. It'll give me some cool graphics. If I twist it here, you can see I'm in eco mode now, and I can keep going. There's sport mode, there's slippery mode, this is mud mode, and then this is also going to shift me into 4x4 mode, and I'm in sand. So I like the way that this graphic does. It looks really nice. And here's normal mode. I'm just gonna stick it in normal mode for now, and it's really, really cool. And you can see the gauge cluster also changes because of that. So if I go to sand mode, for example, let me head over to sand mode if I can. And there we go, I'm in sand mode now. So it's going to shift me into 4x4 mode. And now you can see I have like this orange gauge cluster, which looks really cool. It kind of gives me some information on what drive mode I'm in. And that's really cool. And it also says, because I'm in sand mode, it says just use it on off-road, don't use it anywhere else. I'm going to switch it back to normal mode right now. And it looks really, really cool. And I just love the transformations that it offers. And you can see that the gauge cluster also changes. Here, in the dial here, in the middle, there's also a few buttons. So this button is going to be the 2-wheel drive high, 4-wheel drive low is on the left, and then 4-wheel drive high is on the right. So you can select those with this dial too. So I also wanted to talk about the general aesthetic of the interior of this car. It's just a very rugged looking interior, and that's the whole point of the car. It's to be quite rugged. You can see here the air vents here. They're very rugged looking air vents, and they look really cool. There's rubber everywhere because the intent of this car is that you can wash it all off with the hose. So there's rubber everywhere in all these different panels so that you can easily wash it away. There's a grab handle here for an even more rugged looking look, and the font is quite rugged looking. I like the steering wheel, and it also has the Bronco logo instead of the Ford logo, which is also a very nice touch. And overall, this car's interior is just super rugged, very utilitarian, and I love that look. I love that this car kind of isn't following the normal crossover trend, and it just has a very boxy, utilitarian, rough look, and that just looks cool and awesome. And there's also this plaque here, and it says that this was designed and engineered by Ford in Dearborn, and that was a very, very cool plaque. This car just looks awesome in the inside. It's just such an amazing experience, and it looks so cool. So another thing I wanted to mention in this car is the removable roof. Yes, that's right, there's a removable roof in this car. And the way you would do this in the front is that you see this latch here, you would pull this latch down, and then that will unlatch this particular side of the roof, and then you can remove this particular side, and then you would do that on the other side too. On the other side there's also a similar latch, and then you can take off the roof of this car for a top-down experience. That is just awesome. It just makes this car even more fun and cool. It's just really, really nice. So similar to the roof in this car, you can also remove the doors in this car. Yes, you can remove the doors. So there are a couple of latches here. You can see there are a couple of bolts that you might need to remove here, and using these bolts you can then take out the door in this car, and then you can have a completely open experience, and that was just going to be awesome when you're off-roading. That'll be really cool. And you see here, it's designed so that you can also stick it in and under, so it's easy to lift and take it away. They really thought of everything in this car. You can take out the doors and have a truly off-road experience. That is just awesome. So on the subject of doors here, the Bronco has a frameless door design. So you can see here that a normal SUV would typically have a frame around this window. The Bronco doesn't have a frame. So in fact, I think I'll be able to roll the window down here. Yep, and you can see here, the window goes down and there's no frame whatsoever. So this back door here right now, it just looks like this, and I'm able to easily free my hand around here because it's completely free. There's no frame at all in this back door. It's a frameless design, which makes it easier to carry the door away, and I like that. Okay, so I want to talk the back seat of this car, and the back seat in this car is very roomy. Straight up, it's very, very roomy. I have a ton of leg room, and if I do the headroom test, you use the camera, and I have a ton of headroom too. It's a very, very roomy, comfortable experience back here. Down here, we also have a couple of cool touches. One, there's the window controls are in the middle because the doors are removable, so you need to put the window controls in the middle here. And there's also a couple of other features. So if I open that, we have here, we have a USB Type A and a USB Type C port for charging. And another thing we have is a proper household style outlet. So this is an actual household style power outlet right here. And you can plug in anything back here. And it says that the max output is going to be 400 watts. And it's a 110 volt power outlet. And that's really, really nice. That convenience is also back here. Also another cool touch, the Bronco logo is in the middle, in this hump area here. That's also a very cool touch. Back here, here are the seats. Very nice, comfortable back seats. You can also drop the headrest by hitting this button, and then the headrest should go down. There we go. And the headrest, you can drop the headrest for better visibility if you want, and then you can just easily raise them back up. So the back seat in this car, a very comfortable place to spend time. Folding down the back seats is also very easy. All you have to do is there's this latch here. You pull the latch and the seat's down, and that's it. You have more cargo space. To pull it back up, you just push the seat back up, and boom, you have the back seat back in place. It's really simple. That's the easiest folding down process I've ever seen. Okay, so in back of the Bronco, we can see that this particular model has a spare tire in the back. And another cool feature I like is that this particular Bronco, you can see here, obviously this car has a backup camera, and you can see here it goes straight through the spare tire. I love that. It conserves a good amount of space and it looks really nice. So because there's a spare tire on the back, you can't have a lift gate, and so instead you have this latch. You just pull this latch and you can pull it open like this. And here is the cargo area, so let's go ahead in there. And in here we have a lot of stuff. So you can see we have some lights here, and I'm not sure how you would control these lights. There must be some controls back here, but there are the lights back here. I think those are just the cargo lights. There's also a 12-volt power outlet, so if I open that, you can stick in a 12-volt power outlet there. There's also a couple of cubbies for extra storage, and there's also one back here, so this is also a cubby. And down here, here's our general cargo area. We can use this loop to open it up, and in here we have a jack as well as some extra cargo space if you want some more items. And back here you can see the rear seats once again, and it has a very utilitarian look. I love the way it looks back here. So in front again, we can see we actually have a couple of locking spots in the front for more storage. So in the front here, there's this little button. If you push that, obviously you get the center console. And I'm going to take this out. And in the center console here, it's actually a locking center console. So let me go ahead and put that down, because we can see here, there is the lock, and you can actually see you can lock this thing up, which is really cool. And down here, there's also obviously a glove box. So the glove box is also a locking glove box, and you can open that up. And in the glove box, you have the owner's manual and a couple of other things in here as well. So you have a couple of locking spots in the front, and I like that. That gives you quite a bit of storage up here to stick in some items. So I also wanted to talk about the styling of this car. Obviously, this car is very different than every other crossover. It's more boxy, it's more utilitarian. I love the way it looks because it's not like every other crossover. It looks super cool. I love the boxy look. It makes it look awesome. It's just a very cool look. It's very utilitarian, very rough, very off-road worthy and capable. It's just a good look. I love how this car looks. I really do. And finally, under the hood, we actually have the engine. So here's the engine here. You can see it's a 2.3 liter engine or a 2.7 liter engine. You can see here, and it weighs 0.5 kilograms, and it's a very nice engine. Under here, I can see that this particular model is exposed. It's completely exposed. We can see all the parts, and it looks super cool under here. I love it when an engine bay is exposed. It just makes a very nice look under here, and I just love the way this looks overall. The car under the hood, it looks super cool. And so that's the 2021 Ford Bronco. This car is absolutely amazing, and I love it mainly because of its utilitarian interior design, its boxy exterior design. It's kind of an out-of-the-box car. And it's kind of funny to say that because it kind of looks like a box. And I just love it. It's so cool. It's one of the coolest cars I think I've ever seen. It's just awesome. And I love that they made it. It's a new way to think of the SUV. I like that it's kind of a return to the old school SUV, and it looks so cool. The interior features are awesome. The exterior features are awesome. And overall, this car is truly amazing. I absolutely love it. And if you're in the market for an SUV that's in the mid-size class, and you kind of want something that's more boxy, more rough, that you can take off-road, this car is absolutely it. It's an excellent choice.